y'all's company is so transparent. You guys opened your doors to us. Didn't have to.
Yeah.
And the love that we got, first of all, for being there, and the insight and just picking your brain and seeing you in your natural element at home was like second to none. So we saw this glare.
Awesome.
I mean, 30-something years in this industry, and you've been like rocking it like this, and to see that glare still there, like that to me is awesome. What's going on, folks? Welcome back to CF Podcast. And of course, we had to do a second year run. Yeah. I mean, we had to. There's been so much going on in the industry, especially with Q. And guys, of course, Kevin Brittingham himself, the man, the myth, the legend. He is here with us again, back, gracing us with his presence, right?
You're too kind.
Kevin, of course, brother.
That's ridiculous, man. I'm the one that's grateful. You guys have been so good to us.
Happy to have you, man.
Yeah,
happy.
Thank you, man.
I mean, just starting off, there's been so much innovation, so many new things brought to you by Q themselves. I mean, guys, of course, if you haven't checked out our coverage, we actually did an event out in Folsom, New Mexico with Buck Doyle, and we ran the boombox SD, the 12-inch boombox. Honey badgers galore, everything that is Q, and we really put that into a training environment to see how everything fared. And for me, first of all, getting more hands-on with the 8.6 blackout round and its versatility, seeing it in a small form, using it, wielding it, going through those elements, higher elevation, seeing what the rounds do, seeing the rounds flow, especially under IR, seeing it float up to a 330-yard target away, and it just ringing steel every time.
Using it day and night immediately after.
Yeah.
That was interesting too. Just haven't used a large frame gun at night, and that was fun. That was good.
Shooting
time.
all those subs. I mean, we went through like
incredible.
4,000 rounds of subs. So
learning the zeros,
yes,
everything else. It was so much fun. Yeah. And have you to thank for that, man. I mean, the boombox, incredible piece of machinery.
Man, it makes me feel so good to hear that. Yeah, Mitch and the boys, they did it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think my part, is just understanding the vision. We agree on it, and then I pay for that rich nerd summer camp, which is known as Q. And those boys, I mean, I think it is special, and I think you guys see it. We're in a special spot.
Yeah.
Me being the owner, and decisions start and stop with me at the end of the day.
Right.
And not making them rush it. When they tell me they need another 3 months to do this or do this or do this, it's fine. We I think most companies would have started selling that gun a year or two before we did.
Right.
Yeah.
And it wasn't perfect. And letting them do it, it's perfect. That gun, I think it's the best gun we've ever done. I think it's probably one of the best guns on the market ever. It's incredible. I mean, I think you guys could see it. I mean, I don't know. We'll talk about it, but when you shoot the gun, I can talk all the shit I want, but when you hold that gun and feel how light it is, and what do you mean it's a 308 base gun?
Right.
Oh my God, why does it shoot so good? Exactly. It's a 5-pound gun. It shouldn't shoot good.
And I think that's a testament to write about, because we both ran two different versions.
Yeah.
Right. You had the more production model one. Mine was prototype, but when I say prototype, it was, for me, it didn't feel like a prototype whatsoever.
And I shot yours as well.
Right.
Yeah,
and to use it, of course, when we came up to your facility last time, saw the SD shroud, saw that, and I was like, oh, that's right up my alley. I'm saying, Kevin, when he goes, listen, relax. We'll get there when we get there. Does the market call for it? And I truly think the market is calling for it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in a league of its own.
And SD at every demo is everyone's favorite. Everyone asks about it. But I mean, I do agree. I just turned 51. It's my 32nd year. And you guys have heard that thing about the bulls, the young bulls saying, "Run down there, let's go." Fuck. So I'm into let's walk down there and fuck them all. And so, I mean, I think taking our time with the stuff.
Yeah.
The boys, we got 17 engineers now, and they are so into the testing.
Right.
And what it ends up doing is creating the absolute best product.
Right.
If I can be patient and afford it, they're going to deliver the best gun there is in every category every time we do it now. I mean, it's just, I mean, you guys see the synergy with them.
Right.
People use words like that, but you know, I attribute it to Ethan Lassard, the head of our engineering, and he has been for 15 years. And I was at AAC. But who he is the smartest, best engineer in our industry. It took him 6 years to get an undergraduate degree, and his grade point average was so low they don't allow you to graduate with that grade point average anymore at UNH. They've raised the standards, but just his vision and the way he thinks and out of the box thinking. People say shit like that and don't mean it, but anybody that knows that kid, like, he's different.
Right.
And the leadership and the culture he's created in that department, where all those boys get their hands dirty, they all run the machines, they all do the testing, and all they want to do is more and more testing. And just the collaboration, the way they work together, and we allow our engineering department to work. It's a team. It's all of us, and the best thing wins.
Absolutely.
The best idea.
Absolutely.
And they believe in the vision. And there is no real hierarchy in that department in the sense of anyone trying to get anyone else's job.
Right.
You know, like when I say the fix is Nick Schaefer's.
Right.
He was the lead engineer of 6 of us on there. You know, Mitch, his first gun project, whole entire gun project, was the boombox.
Right.
You know, and it was a challenge for him. The kid's young.
Right.
But, you know, he's worked with Ethan and Nick for 10 years. And so now he's not the junior guy. You know, he's got probably 12 engineers younger than him in that department now. And seeing him and Nick, you know, just grow into leaders and, you know, lead these young guys down the path of, you know, we're going to do the best thing. There is no hurdle that we're not going to overcome. We're not going to accept second place, and you do the whole ass job. I mean, that's what it is. And I mean, I think it shows in the products.
It does, and it's something that resonates right there. There's no points for second place, baby. So
no, second place, you're a loser.
Absolutely. And so, like, speaking about the guys, the culture, and what you guys, I mean, just walking into your facility. And again, folks, if you haven't seen our Q facility tour, first of all, it's over 2 hours of just solid goodness. 3 hours.
It's over 3 hours. I could not believe the views. Thank you guys so much. That's incredible.
It is.
People are interested in watching that shit for that long.
And our average watch time is
over an hour.
Like continuous before anybody moves anything. So that's awesome analytics. And to really see like what goes on into actually bringing some of the best in the industry together, and how you guys cultivate that culture there, the separation of church and state for me. And for folks who don't know, I think it's awesome how you have one brainchild that's working synonymously and good at what they do, and another brainchild, and then you guys bridge the gap between that without having it outrun each other or outrun its skis. I love that aspect. The engineering department is a work of art. Literally, because there's artwork on the wall. You got the donut shop, which is the cage for everything. You got
skulls from
Africa. A lot of skulls from Africa.
Definitely.
That's number one. I mean, Kevin, that's one of your favorite spots on earth to be at, right?
It is,
like,
man. That's all.
You're inching for it every time that you step off the continent.
I mean, I think anybody that goes there with that ambition, you know, you're gonna find it. Like that's home, and you feel it when you go. Yeah, I love Africa.
So for the average everyday hunter in the U.S., what is it about Africa that just? I mean, obviously the amount of game, the variety, of course. But what is it for you that really separates it?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, it depends on where you are. You know, I mean, South Africa is a big place, and most people when they go to Limpopo. That's in the north. Like if they're inexperienced, they've only gone a couple times. And that's a lot of high fence hunting, purchased animals, you know, and I'm not trying to be a total dick about it. It's just, it doesn't interest me, but I'm so happy it's there.
Okay.
Because, you know, anything we can do to get people started or interested in conservation or hunting, whether they know they're participating in conservation or not, I really appreciate and love that. But, you know, Limpopo's flat, and it's, you know, you really go and shoot animals, in my opinion, which is 100% fine. It's not talking shit on people that do it. But my love affair is really in the Eastern Cape, where I live, is the views. You know, it's like I live in the Grand Canyon or something, where every turn I take is the most beautiful view in the world.
That's awesome.
You know, like my house is at 2,000 feet on the side of a mountain, and it's 6,000 feet behind it. And it's just incredibly beautiful. But it is, like you said, it's a diversity of species. So I hunt everything from 5-pound animals to 2,500-pound animals, and everything in between there. in the volume of game. You know, on the property where I live, I think there's 28 species of animals you hunt.
Wow.
And this, you know, riding around or hiking around and seeing 500 animals in a day that are free range,
Right.
you know, and I think it's the amount of land that I live on too. You know, it's about 250,000 acres continuous and about 500,000 total. And so I ride around, you know, me and Whitey strolling around for a month, and you don't go down the same road.
Wow.
And I just feel very free. I feel very free and relaxed. You know, and I don't know all the things. I'm sure a lot of it is like my age and maybe some midlife shit or whatever, you know, especially when it happened. But I think I've talked about it before with, you know, with history and Africa history, since colonization and all started happening, it was, you know, reading Roosevelt and Hemingway, two men that in their time were probably the most famous men in the world. And then had incredible fucking lives, both of them. I mean, just did insane stuff their whole lives. Just, I mean, real men. Yeah. And, you know, like Roosevelt went to Africa for 8 years, and he went back and forth, but his son stayed for 8 years, and they shot like 6,500 animals. And that was when Africa, all of Africa was wild. There weren't roads and stuff. Right. And just, I think, you know, I was at a point in my life, it was just, you know, that crossroad, you know, probably around 40 years old, and it's like, holy shit, I'm getting old. Right. Like, what's life? Yeah. And do you chase money or do you chase adventure? And I think some of that, like, kind of goes back to the company. What I saw with Africa and how it makes me feel, like when I decided, hey, this isn't a company, this is special. It's not something to grow and sell. Right. And that's why, you know, me willing the company to the employees and not my family. Right. Like, it's something we're doing together, and you can't fake it. And the core group of people, and it's not just, I talk a lot about engineering because that's my love. Right. And marketing. But you come to the factory and you see the people in the factory doing assembly. They're the happiest fucking people in the company.
Yes, we saw that.
And it's not normal. But, you know, cultivating that culture, like, I can't fake it. You guys see me when I'm there. I go around the company every day. It's not for the camera. I do it every day when I'm there. I speak to everyone. I know about everybody's family. And, like, part of it is, you know, not to undermine my managers or leadership, but I want to know I'm getting the real story all the time. Nobody gets a fucking pass. And so that's part of it. And I, you know, starting a company when I was 19 for 10 years, doing every job, I appreciate every job. Right. And I know the importance of every job. Doesn't matter how good the engineers do if production fucks it up or shipping fucks it up. Yeah. So everybody's got to be on board with the vision and the team, and that means they have to be appreciated, and they have to, and for me being the owner, they got to know it for me. Right. I tell you, one of the biggest compliments I think I've had in a while, we hired a new girl. She works in packing. Okay. So packing all the stuff to get ready to ship. And I had been back in country for a week or two, so more than a few days. I was there on her first day, you know, and when after she was on board and everything, you know, I went around every day speaking to everybody, introduced myself to her, talked to her, found out about her. Like, she used to work at a company that made corrugation stuff, like all this stuff, about her family, her cats, her fiance, all these things. So just like everyone else. And about a week or so later, I'm walking in the factory, and she comes out of the packing area pushing a cart with a big pile of silencers on it that are packaged. And, hey, how you doing? She says, hey, you know, she says, hey, you work in shipping, right? Will you go ahead and take these back there for me if you're walking back there? I said, of course. But I said, you know I'm the owner, right? Like, I don't work in shipping, but yeah. And I was like, man, that is so awesome. Yeah. That, you know, because I can't fake it to them, and she's new and just didn't know and sees me every day and assumed I just worked in the back. And so, that, you know, and that was so awesome to me.
It's the vibe that you, first of all, just you as a person, right? You have that vibe. You're one of the most approachable people I've ever met in this industry.
Yeah, I love everybody. That's why it's so ironic. You know me. Right. So then you see this stuff online. Like, I just don't like companies lying and misleading consumers. And it's so ironic, you know, and you know how it is. It's like, it's very vocal, the hate that I get, but it's really like 100 kids. I mean, if you don't think it is, like, we could look at the books and the sales and see that it is. Right. But, you know, just that's the way it's viewed. And I'm just so, the way I am and the way I grew up, well, you know, like at the company, anybody could fuck up and it's fine. Right. But if you lie or hide it or, you know, don't accept that you fucked up and grow from it, then there's a problem. But, you know, you could cost me $1 million. You don't lose your job.
Well, that's
It's
good to know.
just,
Yeah.
it's just, but if you're incompetent or you're not trying or you're not willing to put in the effort or you lie or something like that, then your ass is in trouble.
That makes
if it's
sense.
not. So, you know, when we see this stuff, whether it's, you know, any of the bullshit online about me, the fact that, and I think most of it's kids, but that you're so stupid that you would rather somebody smile and be nice to you and lie to you than somebody to be concise and direct and tell you the truth, you know, and you learn from that or grow from that. And also, like, this is my 32nd year. What other CEO or owner of a company can you approach? And I'll respond to everyone.
That's
Yeah.
very true. And that's what I'm saying. You
And
walk
no appreciation for it with those
Right.
youngins.
Right.
Even like Wendy's on Twitter, people talk about like how, you know, like quote unquote savage they are, you
Yeah.
know, when talking to other people. But that's just some guy who's been hired, you know,
Right.
for marketing for social media.
Right.
Yeah, he's trying to get that attention, right?
Right.
And you're just like, hey, this is a conversation between me and you, ultimately online, and there's no second Kevin. There's no guy I'm hiring that's an intern.
No,
you know, it's like that's me.
And people
yeah.
are just so brittle and soft. So, you know, then it just ends up with, oh, you're a liar or a wife beater or talk about an arrest I've had or something. Like, I give a fuck about getting arrested. Like, that's why you're rich, because then you don't have to care about it. Like, I'll go to jail. All right. When people say shit like that, it's like, you think you're a good person because you've never been to jail. It's like, I think entrepreneurs or people like me, we're going to test every boundary.
Right.
And it's not with, you know, bad intention all the time or being malicious, you know. But yeah, I can be an asshole, and I'm unapologetic about it. And I love that, you know, when the haters, oh, you're so unprofessional. Like, go f yourself. Like,
What standard do you have to reach for them?
Right,
Yeah,
right.
it's their standard professional.
and then it's like, people say that to me. It's funny because the head of marketing at Hornady said that to me last week because he got his little feelings hurt a little bit.
I bet.
And the first minute of our conversation said I was unprofessional twice, and I was like, I hear you saying that, but first of all, what about me makes you think I give a fuck? And who are you? Who do you think you are to judge me? Like, my professionalism. Like, I'm out to do innovation in this special thing.
Right.
And I don't, like, what are we going to have a contest?
Yeah, no.
You want to compare bank accounts? Like, call me professional? Like, it's not my daddy's money. Or my granddaddy didn't start my company and give it to my daddies, and he's letting me have it. So, like, yeah. So, I mean, that unprofessional stuff, it's like, go fuck yourself. I'll say it to anybody. Like, I don't care what you think about me.
And that is very true. If you've ever been in a comment section, that's actually
Yeah,
100%.
section on the factory.
that's it.
Yeah, you've
Oh,
been in
that
there.
guy is such arrogant. He had, but here you are as maybe a grown man on the internet,
Possibly.
Yeah.
which is not a real place, but on the internet, spending your time talking about me, and you've never met me, but you're enjoying 300 Blackout, you're enjoying silencers, you're enjoying all this shit. Send a Christmas card, or you know how many like you and I walk around the show, or
Yes.
you'll be at the booth.
Yeah.
How many people come up to me constantly?
Yeah.
Like, actually being famous would be the worst thing in the world, I think. But I'm so grateful and humbled and appreciative when people, you know, speak to me or grateful. Not one time in person has anyone ever said anything negative to my face.
I don't think they don't have the guts.
one time.
People have gusto behind the keyboard, but they won't come say it to my face, bro.
People,
like,
soft.
absolutely.
You're putting a challenge out too, almost. You know? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I know, and I told you guys with the Marty Daniel thing. And,
Yes.
you know,
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I tell him to go f himself every time I see him. Like, he's not. Maybe he's turned his life around with Jesus or whatever, but he's not a good dude.
He said, "Try Jesus, not me, because I throw hands."
If you haven't seen our podcast last year, went in detail about that.
Yes.
Blew
Yeah.
us away.
Absolutely.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah, and you know, and all that is, it's not money or competition. Mitch, one of our engineers, a kid that did the boombox, he fucked his life up, and he did it intentionally. It was malicious, and it was without cause, and that makes me not be able to stand that motherfucker. Not because he did something to me, he did something to somebody I love.
Wow. See, and that's where I'm talking about the culture. Like it's a family vibe there, and just like you said, you could cost them $1 million provided that you're not around or telling fibs or going down this route. We have to go to the route of betterment, and there always will be some type of failure in that route. I mean, it's a journey, right? It's not a destination. So there's going to be trip ups. There's going to be hiccups. Yeah. There's going to be things that you may slip and fall on, but it's okay because at the end of the day, the goal is perfection personified to our level that we can comprehend it.
Yes.
So
we have to win, and I think it takes time, right? Like I've thought about this for a long time, and whether it's Mitch or Nick or Ethan, Ethan's kind of like me. He doesn't give a fuck that much, but most of the guys, if you've worked somewhere else, you're afraid to screw up,
right? And
it takes them years to trust me, to where, they see that I mean what I say, and when we hit a hurdle or a bump in the road on the boombox, whatever,
right.
I never view it as no, we can't do this. It's going to take too long. It's going to be too expensive.
Right.
We have to do it.
Right.
And then those boys, I mean, it probably took Mitch 5 or 6 years to trust me that we're going to do the whole job every time.
Right. Yeah.
And I understand it because most places aren't that way, and that's probably something that is special about us.
It is, and transparency. That's another thing. Y'all's company is so transparent. You guys open your doors to us. Didn't have to.
Yeah.
And the love that we got, first of all, from being there and the insight and just picking your brain and seeing you in your natural element at home was like second to none. So we saw this glare.
Awesome.
I mean, 30-something years in this industry, and you've been like rocking it like this, and to see that glare still there, like that to me is awesome. So when we talk about like your passions and everything that is Africa per se.
Yeah. I don't half-ass anything, man. I fall in love or I don't want to be with you. It's one or the other.
There you go. So what's the greater beyond? Because let's cue aside. We're getting up there. Is there a time that you want to say, you know what? I'm going to go like Jordan, hang up the jersey, relax, chill.
To my mountain in Africa.
Yeah, like to my mountain in Africa.
Man, I run hot. There's no chill in me. I love to be like Jordan. Did he stop playing basketball? Yeah, he had to. He got old, but look at him now. Like, look at Shaq now.
The brand.
You think Shaq would go back to playing basketball? You think that motherfucker's not having fun?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I'm really willing to just accept the journey at this point. Like, I don't need to accomplish more things. And most of that is I've gotten really lucky. All right? Let's say a lot of people could do what I've done.
Okay.
The problem is most people are too soft, is what I think now in life. But wherever this journey takes us, like, I don't care anymore. Right. I want us to be together. I know when us as a team and what we've created at Q, it just continues to grow and get better, and we get better people as we grow. We get better processes. Everything gets better. And when I made up my mind a couple of years ago not to sell the company, it took such a weight off me. Because, like, I hate money. I've talked to you guys about that before.
Right.
I hate dealing with money.
Right.
The other day I asked Tori, I needed to buy something. Like, I don't have email. I don't even know how to check my bank account on my phone or anything.
Right.
Like, I'm so basic in that way, but just because it relieves stress. It's not a flex. It's like, I only want the anxiety that kind of brings me joy. Like, work is very fulfilling to me. So I want that to be the only thing that causes me stress. Right. But I asked Tori the other day, I wanted to buy something, and I don't know how to check my bank account without going to the bank. And I said, I texted her. I was like, hey, I want to get some. She's like, how much is it? I tell her. And she's like, you can buy 5.5 of them. So, like, I had 5.5 more time, in my bank account than I thought I did. But, my life now as I get older, it gets simple, too, right? I haven't had a mortgage in 30 years, probably 25 years maybe. And, and not like a flex, like I'm so rich. Like, my house is just a regular house. Like, I've had big mansions and shit, and that stuff doesn't make me happy. It doesn't make me feel good, so I don't care about it.
Right. Yeah.
And I was fortunate. I think for Q, I was very fortunate to go through, like my life's journey where, I had a normal life sort of as a kid, but we didn't have money.
Right. And
at a very young age, I made a lot of money, for the time. I mean, I think the Remington deal was like $22 million, and I had zero debt. So, and I only had zero debt because I couldn't get credit. When I was a kid in the gun industry back then, like, nobody was going to loan me money.
Right.
And, I was just very fortunate. And then you go through all those things, right? Like the Lamborghinis and Ferraris and the mansions and all that shit. And then, I get older, I'm just like, that stuff it just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And all I want to do is our work and then be able to go out to eat whenever I want and not worry about it.
Yeah.
And have a decent place to live
Right.
and a newish car to drive. And I want to go hunt and adventure.
Yeah.
Like buying adventure or experience. Like, man, I mean, one thing I think the contrast with Africa and America is Africa's not fucked it up yet. Like, why are we working in America? Like, what are y'all's aspirations? Like, why would you want to have a job that you wouldn't do if you weren't getting paid, and then you stop working when you're 65 or 70? Like, what the fuck are you going to do?
Right.
Oh, that's a great point.
And unlike Jordan, where, we're not pro athletes or anything, there is an expiration date on that.
Right.
And it's cool to see some of those guys like Jordan or Shaq, like, transition and just see, like, the incredible things that have happened in retirement. Like, the basketball was just a setup for them to do this really awesome thing they're doing now, in my opinion. And, like, sitting around when you're old or waiting for that, what if you don't get old? Like,
Right.
when you start to get my age, you have friends die every year.
Wow.
And it really changes the way you think. Like, last night was emotional for me because, John
Johnny
Noveske
Noveske.
was my best friend.
Right.
And I hung out with his two sons who
Yeah.
were little when he died.
Right.
And I was close to them and see them be men now.
Yeah.
So I just think, like, I talked to when I went to Africa for a few months a couple of years ago and decided I'm not going to sell the company and go back to talk to the employees, because the core group that I love, it'd make them all millionaires now if we sold the company. Wow. And they don't want to sell the company.
Right.
They're like, what the fuck else are we going to do? Learning
that's
from mine experience, some of them are about the age I was when I sold Advanced Armament, right?
Right.
And it's like, all your friends still work. All you're going to do is become a housewife. Like, it is what
exactly.
it's not awesome to like, what are we going to do, invest in mini storage?
Yeah.
Right.
You have to have something to do. Money is not the end game. You have to have something to do within your life that really gives you purpose. And you found that. And what's so interesting, so when we first came to this to the Q facility tour, I thought we were going to learn about 300 Blackout, learn about the history of it, and it was going to be all about the things you've done, the things you've accomplished, 8-6 Blackout. Like, it was going to be a lot of marketing speak.
Right.
Just straightforward. That was what I expected going to this. That's what we've seen in other places.
Yeah.
What I saw with you was contradictory to that. It was totally about, I personally ended up learning about leadership within a company and being able to get people interested in something that you are interested in and how you can instill that in them.
Right.
And I found that incredible, and just it changed my view. And
It's so nice to hear, man.
yeah, it was incredible to see, and it was awesome to see.
Yeah, I have to peel the onion back
strive
on that
for it.
one, because that really does say something. And there's one thing that you mentioned. You said, "Oh, luck." I don't think it's luck, brother. It's not. It's
No.
it's favor, and there's a difference.
Yeah, like, when I was 30, I knew I was never going to have another job.
Right.
And when I was probably 45, I knew I was pretty smart.
Right.
And now at 51, I understand why I'm in charge at our company.
Yeah.
When I sit in a meeting with all those nerds, and and now our president, Brad, he's also a mechanical
Yes.
engineer. He's also brilliant.
Yes.
And, why do all these people, when I'm the dumbest person in the room, work for me? Like, I get it now. But I didn't understand it probably 5 or 6 years ago. But I think all these things, like being free, giving up, trying to control things, but inspire, like, I believe in all of them more than they believe in themselves.
Yeah.
And, everybody's got their insecurities. If people weren't afraid, Nick, Mitch, Brad, Tori, Ethan, everybody have their own company.
And it's funny that you mentioned that, because when I first met Nick, he was like, I gotta deal with these young guys, and I don't know, managing and all this stuff. But it seems like just in this year alone, what you have pushed and instilled with the culture, it's again turning these guys into leaders. And it comes back to the leadership. Because you remember when we
Makes me
first got
very
there,
proud.
Nick's was like, I don't like talking to, I don't like doing it. But
Yeah,
now,
so we got a director there who manages the stuff so he can just be a leader. He doesn't have that stress. It's like me not paying my bills or knowing how much money I have.
Right.
It gives me a freedom.
Right.
And I don't know if that makes sense, and I don't really know how to, like, articulate or verbalize it, but I'm old enough now, been through enough years where I know how much money I spend every year. I know what my life costs. I know what I make. I know what I have in the bank to some degree. And it's like, I know this is the way I live, so I don't have to worry about it anymore. And I think it makes me, like, I am less stressed, and I think have a more fulfilling life in a lot of ways that are enviable by other men than, like, my 3 billionaire investors.
Right.
Like, they would trade lives with me, and I would not trade lives with them. And they've got, one of them is probably worth $30-40 billion.
Right.
I wouldn't take his life over mine. My life's great. And I think it's just making these choices that I think I've never been a super micromanager, but I am into detail.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, there's just something. I mean, I think it's a lot of entrepreneurs. When you generally want to achieve something that you can't without a team, and it's probably like Elon Musk or Steve Jobs or people who have been very successful and high profile. I think you probably see it with them too. I think one thing, like Reed Knight was a mentor of mine, and I think I realized it it's probably about 35, about the time I sold the company, because he made a comment to me one day and said, because he's real direct.
Okay.
And he's always treated me great, and I love the man to death, and I respect him and I honor him so much, and what he's done in our industry.
Yeah.
And he might be the only one I know with a personal life as difficult as mine. but you see, anyway, he said to me something one day, and this is like respectful. This is a personal conversation. He's a great man, but he said, when you have $600 million in the bank, then you come talk to me. Because I told him, like, man, you should stop micromanaging every thing in your company. Really, like, there's no reason for you to do this. And he was kidding, but also serious.
Right.
And I was like, well, you probably have $1 billion if you didn't do it. And that's the way I thought then. And in hindsight, I think, like, I was probably right. And, and he gets to lead how he wants to lead, and it's his business. And like I said, I mean, that family in H&K is the reason that I love guns. And so very inspired by him. But it was interesting seeing that, and I think Reed probably likes money more than I do, but he doesn't chase the money. And it's interesting, but that was just an interesting perspective. When you think about leadership, he's very difficult to work for. That's pretty well documented.
Right.
And I think I am not difficult to work for. So I think I learned things growing up around him to where, like, oh, that is brilliant. Oh, I should not do that. And I think it was subtle, and it just stuck in the back of my mind. And I think as I get older and, lead more people, that overall I do a better job. But, he wanted to buy a lot of expensive stuff. Like, I want to have the greatest life ever. And for me that takes, so it's not only, so you can't fake it, like, I mean, I couldn't lie to my kids when they were little.
Right.
So I definitely can't lie to all these smart people that work for me. So it has to be genuine. And then the fulfillment that I get out of that work family and the relationship and seeing those kids grow and making them wealthy, is great. Like financial goals, right? Like I'm getting a bigger plane right now in Africa. So that takes money. So I have to worry about money. But a friend of mine over there has a ranch just last week, said, hey, I'm going to split it with you. Let's share it. And I was like, that's wonderful. Okay, well, now it's easy because I'm only paying for half of it. But like financially is getting all my core people in the position I am. Like I don't want them to have mortgages. Yeah. I don't want their wives to have to work if they don't want to, or work at a job they don't like just to pay their mortgages. Like I want to give them that part of life that's been really great to me.
Yeah. Right.
It's lonely at the top, right? And if you have a team of other people to be with you and experience that just appreciation, that makes it worth it.
Yeah. It's cool. And I want to step back to something else when we talk about Noveske. Me seeing Lorena last night. So Johnny's widow still owns the company.
Right.
And so, I knew them for years, of course, and we're friends, and Johnny passes, and, she can give a shit about guns. She's from Pacific Northwest, kind of this hippie chick, artsy. She's a great artist, and she's the coolest there is, man. I love her. And she was, knew nothing about business or guns. And she decided that because of her kids, her 2 sons, that she was going to she wanted Noveske to continue because in my mind I was like, you should probably sell it. And, you know, just restart your life. It's worth it. You know, we could sell it for a lot of money. You'd be fine forever. She wanted to do it. And, you know, then she was very afraid because it was like, what would Johnny do? And it's like, Johnny's gone. Like, it's yours.
Right.
You know, be you. And seeing her, like, the company is different.
Right.
But her be successful with it, you know, more than 10 years later. And the company's thriving. It's never done better. And, you know, and you can tell from it's her company now.
Right.
And being so proud of her as well. Like, that's cool to see to me.
It is.
What is it about Noveske? I can see, like, as you talk about it, there's something there where it holds a different place in other companies in your heart.
Oh, well, I mean, Johnny was one of my best friends. And, you know, Johnny, advanced armament. So Johnny had gotten out of the Army, worked at Packnor, and they learned how to make barrels, right? And was pulling buttons.
Right.
And he was a really smart, innovative guy. And quickly was changing things there, like, you know, doing his own buttons and stuff like that. So when he left there, he lived in one of their parents, I think his parents, like, garage, even when their kids were small. Huh. And he and Lorena got married, and he started making custom rifles. And he was making bolt guns originally is what he did. He didn't do AR stuff.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, ARs came several years later.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you can find an old Noveske bolt gun, that's what he did. Is he made barrels. He'd get Packnor blanks with buttons that he designed or made, where the rifling was different. He would get those blanks, and he'd profile barrels and build rifles and sell custom bolt guns. And then that evolved into the AR stuff. So kind of when that was happening around that time, because his card that he sent to me still had a bolt rifle on it. And he ordered, so there's 5 or 6 silencer companies at the time. So whether he ordered them or got them at SHOT, I think he ordered them because he had, like, real social anxiety, so it was hard for him to come to, like, SHOT and stuff.
Right.
But he said that he got all the catalogs from all the silencer companies, Gemtech, AWC, Advanced Armament, I don't even remember. There weren't that many. But he said he put them in alphabetical order, and so ours was on top. And he called, and I answered the phone, and he wanted a 308 silencer, and he would tell this story. And he told me who he was and what he did. And he was very humble. And, you know, what was it about our silencer that was better than the others? You know, a legitimate question. He didn't know. He was asked. And I said, hey, you know, and I told him, I said, hey, let me just do this. I'll form you, I'll give you one of our silencers. If you don't like it, then that's fine, send it back. If you do, then you just pay for it.
Yeah. Right.
And he said that he didn't even open any of the other catalogs. And that's how the relationship started.
Wow.
Because he's like, if this fucking dude, I'm a nobody, will do that for me and believe in me, then I'm loyal. I mean, that's just the way he was. He was very loyal. And then he and I just became friends.
That's awesome.
So,
Yeah,
so
you
it
guys
was
have
cool.
gone for years, it seems like. Yeah. When was that?
When that happened?
Yeah,
that part?
when that happened.
Oh, that would have been.
You were in your 20s, huh?
It would have been probably. Yeah, it probably would have been around late 90s, maybe.
Wow.
Something like that.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I mean,
late 90s, maybe 2000. But
history.
I think pre 9/11. Yeah.
Wow.
wow.
So yeah, like going into that, and one thing that I've noticed about you is that, you know, we talked about the greater beyond and what's beyond Q, but philanthropy, and I think you do interior philanthropy while running your company, and that's really deep.
Yeah, I think it's charitable having the company, and I mean none of this comes from me, right? Like I don't want to learn, I don't mind learning difficult lessons, but also don't mind learning from people who've been through it. And one of the investors, because, you know, I own 70% of the company, 30% is owned by investors, and they're wonderful. They just like guns, or they're friends with me. You know, I own all the voting shares. I'm in total control of the company, and it's going to stay that. I'm never going to be walked out that front door again. It ain't going to happen. If I do it, it's on my own.
We learn from mistakes fast, baby.
I'm definitely not going to learn that mistake. But so one of them told me he got to a point where he has so much money that he had a lot, he employed people just to give his money away. And it became a distraction from his business. And he went, you know, on, I don't know, maybe he went on some walkabout or some shit.
Yeah.
But he thought about it, and he thought, you know, and like I think you see it with Elon Musk right now. and Jeff Bezos, and any of these guys. Like, we shouldn't even tax them. You know, because like, what's Elon Musk going to do with more money? Like, all he's going to do is have another business, and now it's probably to a point where it doesn't matter. He doesn't have enough time, right?
Employ more people.
Yeah,
ultimately.
but my investor told me, because I give a fair amount of money away every year, and we were actually at a charity event, and it's only one charity event that he supports now, and it's for special operations. It's SOCF, Special Operations Care Fund, Dave Kramer. And that's the only one he goes to. And he said what he thought hard about it and understood was the best way for him to be charitable was to just employ more people, start more companies. He says, and that was interesting to me, because like, he's got way more money than me, but I get hit up for money every day by somebody, family member, friend, random people online sliding in the DMs.
You are not sliding, folks.
Dude, once a week.
No, I'm saying you. So I'm a random dude on the. I'm the random dude on the internet. Yeah. Hey Kevin, I just need a G, bro. Just.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sometimes it'll be like, you know, I'm a single dad, or I have a blue collar job, or this or that, and I can't afford a Q prop, but I want one. Will you give me a fix? Just stuff like that. Which, and sometimes I actually do it, but it depends on the approach, right? Like, I'm a pretty generous guy, but it's like.
Give me gun. You're like, no.
Your grandmother needs a fix, bro. Like, really?
Or it's just one of those things. It just happens so much.
Okay.
And you know, like, I genuinely want to help everyone, but then it's like, okay, so it took stress out of my life to be like, no, I'm not going to do that anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to grow the company, and that's the charity I'm going to provide. Now, when I'm gone one day, so the company goes to the employees. My money goes to a couple things that I'm going to start. But one is men that are falsely accused in child custody and stuff like that, is to support the man. It happens so much. And, you know, thank God when I was younger and went through that, because, you know, I had full custody of my kids their whole lives and raised them. They're adults now. But I went through all that. And if I had not had millions of dollars, I would have never seen my children again. And you know, and I see all this stuff online, and I don't, you know, I love my children. I love their mother. I don't agree with her, you know, and she's got some issues that can't be fixed. And, you know, there's a reason a rich white woman loses her kids. And the whole thing's sad. It's sad for my kids, right? It breaks my heart. But if I had not had millions of dollars, and not that it's you pay someone off, like, to go through this process, because I'm not only paying my attorney's fees, but this woman that accuses me of all the things, you know, and all the arrests online that people will see, and all, like, that stuff's not real, but you can never explain it. You know, like, if you say I'm or whatever, like, how do you defend that, right? And especially when it comes to my kids, I'm sensitive to it. But when I realized going through that process, how many men get fucked over in family court, and how common it is, and people don't think, you know, since they've recorded domestic violence, that's been a thing. Since they've recorded it, and every year more women are arrested and convicted of domestic violence than men. But when you say, okay, stalker, domestic violence, or, you know, it's always wife beater. You don't ever think about the woman being. But it's not like that's a thing with me. It's like that every year women do it more than men.
Correct.
It's hard to change public opinion, ultimately.
It is. And so I'm just like, I thought about that for a long time, you know, and it's like, how fucked up is it that if I couldn't afford millions of dollars, it was $1.5 million, 18 months in attorney's fees, because I had to pay for hers, who, you know, was accusing me of these things, and, you know, I had to pay for the attorney and then I pay for my own, and, you know, like, what a fucking horrible thing that is. And as I went through that process, talking to, you know, the attorneys appointed by the court or the doctors to investigate all this shit, when you start talking to them, it's like, it was so common, and I had no idea. So my money will go, half my money will go to that.
That's awesome, and that resonates for me, because I am a single dad, and that hits close to home.
Yeah,
that's for sure. And my son has made me a better person.
Yeah, they will.
And you know, me and his mother just might not agree on things, but I wouldn't have it any other way, and that. I feel that, man.
I would totally have it another way.
Well-
But I made a difficult choice in who I had children with. And, and it's funny because I hear about it every day online by anonymous fucks that don't know what they're talking about. And it's like, it's not a thing. Like, my kids are people, and hearing that stuff. Because, I don't, like, put my kids on my social media or anything anymore because, like, these little anonymous fucks started messaging my children and stuff.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And
Okay.
when they were like 14.
No,
Wow.
I mean that's incomprehensible. That is crazy. The thing, what is so surprising to me when I hear those anonymous people online talking about you, is I'm like, I know Kevin, we've experienced,
Yeah.
Kevin, we've come to know all this. Like, it is not how they see you. What is it that you would wish they would understand better? And this may not be about like your product, about Q, but just in general, what you see that you would like to say directly to them.
I think the part that bothers me, like the personal stuff, I don't really care. Like
Right.
when it involved my children or whatever,
of course.
that sucks.
It's crossing the line.
Yeah.
It is, without a doubt.
But I think having a mentor, several in the industry, but going back to like Reed Knight again, so much knowledge, and Reed's about to turn 80. So much knowledge is going to die when he dies, because there wasn't always social media and the internet and forums. And Reed's so old, he's never been on any of them.
Right.
And, and I remember when all the forums started, I got on the internet for the first time in 1997.
Wow.
America Online.
Yeah, right.
But,
Cue
the
sound
thing
effect.
is, I want to really share everything that I've learned, because I think I got in the industry and experienced a lot of incredible stuff that a lot of people aren't aware of. And whether you agree with me or not, it's fine. You can argue with science, but it just makes you stupid. But just the knowledge that I can share and that I'm willing to, where most guys in my position aren't, and just the absolute disregard or disrespect from young people. Like I said, who else? What other owner that's been doing this for 32 years will get online and answer anyone? Because
right.
when you guys say the way we treat you when we come to the office,
Yes.
if you're just coming to do a customer build, or you're somebody at the shop's dad or cousin that loves guns and wants to, you all get treated the same way. We didn't kiss your asses because you do videos and get a lot of views. Like, we treat everyone the same.
Right.
And that is the part where it's just so ridiculous to me that you're into guns so much that you're going to get online and talk shit to me, but you're unwilling to learn. You're a fucking moron.
Right.
And I want, it's like basketball. We love basketball,
Right.
and I argue with Jordan all the time about Jordan and LeBron or whatever. But the reality is, basketball players aren't getting worse. And I can see it with our company. We're not getting worse at our job. We are fucking good at what we do.
Absolutely.
And, I expect you young guys to do even better. But you have to understand where we are now to do something better.
Oh, that makes
I think
perfect
that's
sense.
the part that I'm just like, you fucking idiots. Here I am spending my time where I could be doing something else because I genuinely care. And then, I'll answer some questions and it's like a bunch of douchebags. So go fuck off,
You have to know where you came from to know where we're heading.
Yeah.
ultimately.
I mean, if you want to be better, I mean,
Yeah, that's a good point. If you want to be better.
If big if.
Yeah, because for me, I wanted to do better, so I really had to understand guns. And I'm not smart enough probably to invent a lot of things, but I think I've proven that I am smart enough to improve several things. And
Without a doubt.
So-
You don't have to prove that. I mean, at this
yeah,
point.
So, and that's only because guys like Reed Knight, and being open to me, and they have a passion for it, and they could see mine, and they were willing to share. But Reed Knight ain't going to go out of his way to answer some idiot kid or some, just fucking
about-
Rodney that owns guns.
My favorite sayings, we stand on the shoulders of giants, right?
Yeah,
And ultimately, these people around us, and people may never know that you look at Reed Knight that way, right? They look at Q, they see you online, they have no clue about the history with Noveske, everything else that's deeply intertwined in your personality, and they're just they see it as a funny internet meme, right?
Yeah, and I mean,
Ultimately.
and that's cool because I like to laugh too, and I don't mind. You know, like I talk shit. You want to talk shit? It's fine. You know,
No,
I enjoy
you don't
that
say.
part.
yeah, exactly. We've never done that before.
But some of the ridiculous stuff to where, okay, this is what you're going to do every time I respond to something. Well, I just won't come back here. Oh, and yeah, you can make a meme about it. Cool, but you're dumber with me not being there, whether you like it or not. And I'm not saying I'm the smartest guy in the world, but I know I got a lot of experience that you younger guys don't have.
That's true.
You know,
Yes.
Reed Knight being one of my mentors, like how lucky is that? Max Atchison, who was one of the designers on the M16, he did like the 22 kit and the AA-12 shotgun. That was one of my mentors. I spent years with him, you know, and in his basement where he designed all these guns. Even Randy Powell at Bullseye Indoor Range in Lawrenceville, Georgia. You know, he's one of our investors, and he's also 16 years older than me. I worked in that shop. That's where I started Advanced Army. And I learned from him, you know, and part of that is I had to do retail. So I appreciate the brick and mortar stores. You know, my love for that and understanding comes from my ass working in a retail shop with all those motherfuckers. Like, that's not fun either a lot of times, but I had a passion for it. And, you know, and I wanted to get people the best gun when I was a kid. And so, you know, a lot of people, you realize, oh, you're not really into guns. You want a handgun to carry or whatever. And, you know, I owe it to them to know the most. I mean, I felt that way at a young age, to know the most I can about guns to help them make the right decision. But learning that retail business, and you see it with Jordan. Jordan grew up in that same store, and it's funny. Adam Thrower, he's a kid at God, he looks like an old man now, but he's a kid at Spiritus Systems, and I saw him yesterday for the first time in 20 years. He's there. He grew up in Bullseye too, so he's a generation between me and Jordan.
Right.
And you know, so even appreciation for them for the retail, you know, and I appreciate starting a business. It would have been great if my granddaddy gave me a business, right? It'd be cool. But starting a business and having the struggles, now two times, but for 10 years doing every fucking job.
Yeah.
So it really helps me to treat the employees, all of them, with respect and appreciation.
Right.
Because, I mean, I used to be wearing a headset, Cerakoting cans out of the back door. I had 8 kitchen ovens that I bought damaged from Lowe's on the inside, answering questions, Cerakoting cans, doing that, bead blasting, doing the emails, doing the paperwork. You know, I had a schedule in the morning. I'd do the ATF forms, and you had to mail them back then and do all that. I would respond to the emails. I'd put on the headset, start answering the phone, start assembling silencers. You know, and at the end of the day, you know, the last few hours was packaging, and I would be putting them in boxes, answering the calls. I had, you know, custom little notebooks made for orders.
Okay.
You know, so I would have that. So I would start in the morning processing the orders. And so it makes it real easy to appreciate every job there. Like the poor sucker that has to bead blast. You know, we got an automated bead blast system now, but it's like, that job's horrible. You know, so I understand it, but I just think that journey, and, you know, like understanding everybody's your superior in some way. You can learn from everybody.
That's very true.
And, but, you know, because it is interesting. Like sometimes, like I engage in the conflict online. Like I'm just competitive, and I don't mind conflicts. It doesn't bother me, and it makes me laugh. But
We love that about you. By the
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
I mean, like last time we went through like hot or not, like we talked about.
I was
like,
just about to do
murder
it.
Suppressors.
Lizzo.
Yes, exactly.
I was just about to do it.
And that is your just straightforward position on it, and it's like there's nothing there. There's no veil, and you're like, this is how I feel.
Well, speaking into it,
We got some hot or nots.
we got some hot or nots, baby.
Oh, all right.
Round 2, baby.
What do you have loaded?
I got some stuff loaded.
All right. So this is a hot or not?
Hot or not,
go.
baby. Round 2.
1 year later.
1 year,
the day.
another year wiser. Here we go, because I love it. It's getting spicy. 338 arc.
So we didn't talk about this. That was also mine.
Well, I mean, do you want to start with that, with the with them confronting me last week?
Let's do it.
I don't know anything about this.
I would say 338 arc. Like, honest. It's interesting that, like, on the internet when all this happened, like, people don't understand. I spent millions of dollars developing 8.6 Blackout. I get no money from ammo. And then people get on me about, like, Hornady makes ammo for profit. They want to sell little metal bits. They don't give a fuck. And that's great. That's business. That's capitalism. And that's wonderful. but people say, "Oh, I'm mad because like I'm going to lose my." Like I don't lose my. Like all I do is spend money to develop ammo, just like during the blackout. Then I give it to Hornady or whoever else. I give it to everyone, and then they make it. They don't pay me a commission. I don't get a royalty. I get $0 from it. You know, unless I sell guns or silencers or something to support it. But like I get zero money from ammo.
Right.
But you know, we're in small arms and we're a gun company and we're trying to be innovative. You know, like I didn't ever want to build guns. I didn't ever want to build triggers. Like I wanted to do silencers, but then you start seeing, oh, well, a silencer has to go on a gun. Well, this gun that could do this thing doesn't exist.
Okay.
So we have to do it. And it's like, whether it's Geisley's trigger or AR Gold, which are both great triggers, they didn't meet what we had to deliver, so we had to do a trigger. We didn't want to do a trigger. Learning what we did from 300 Blackout, we knew there was a greater capability. I mean, I think we just see it all differently, if that makes sense. So 338 ARC it's a tough one. I would say probably not, because at the end of the day, what do you get, right? It's not accurate. Because they want an H-twist, it's not accurate. The supersonic is basically bullshit. It's a 9mm handgun, so it's MP5 SD. So that's not good for killing stuff. But
it fits in a small frame AR.
Well, not being able to use what mag do you use for? There's not a mag, so it's not going to be reliable.
We literally just had this conversation.
Yes.
And then the bolts will break.
Yeah.
You know, it's 6.8 SPC. It's where Hornady is failing is a wonderful American company and a wonderful story. And you guys know I've loved supporting Hornady and their ammo and that company in general. The engineering team there, a lot of them are great.
Yeah.
It's what I told Neil Davies, the head of their marketing, so like their number 2 guy, when he wanted to be a smartass to me last week, was like, this is heartfelt. It's like, you guys are becoming a big company in a bad way. And
Interesting.
yeah, and that's true, and he might not feel that way, but with Hornady, you know, Joyce Hornady started in, I think, 1949.
Okay.
Well, Steve Hornady's old, and he's a smart guy, hardworking, awesome, conservationist. A lot of respect for him. He ran it for years, and then his son Jason is my age, so it's 3rd generation. And you know, is the passion there for money, or is the passion there for what created the company? Like, well, my grandchild had the same passion I do. And so maybe that's a broader question, but where Jason Hornady has been brilliant is in marketing.
Okay.
And
I agree.
Several years ago, Mitch Middlestat, he's the head of engineering. He was the number 2 guy at Hornady.
Yeah.
Now, Neil Davies, the head of marketing, is the number 2 guy. So, is that what I would want at my company?
Yeah.
Not
mentorship.
Am I right? I don't know. But in my opinion, as someone who's owned companies for 32 years, when you let marketing pick the products, you're going to fail. When you let the bitch in HR run the company, you're going to fail.
Yeah.
When general counsel, and I think I have the best in the world, Sean Lewis, that motherfucker, he is a badass. If he ran the company, we would fail. And that's no disrespect to him.
No.
He is one of the best hires I've ever made, and I love that man. He is incredible. You know, if I let the head of our finance department run our company, we would fail. It's got to be me.
They're all important in their own areas.
Yes, but they can't run the company.
Yeah.
And I think, in my opinion, there's been a transition with Hornady. Creedmoor cartridges are brilliant. I love them. They're some of my favorites. The 6mm, the 6.5, brilliant cartridges. Barrel swap only, uses the same mag. Don't have to change the bolt. Guns work. But you see, I think when it's somebody that makes bullets or they load ammo, you have to have a delivery system. It starts with that. Like all these guys, you could say, Otter Creek, this is the quietest silencer for $500. Cool story, bro. Let's get down to durability test and see what happens.
So it's funny you say that.
That was going to be my next hot or not.
Was hot or not. It was Otter Creek Labs.
Well, I think with Horny, what I saw, if you guys will let me
absolutely.
rant on about this one, is the Creedmoor cartridges were so great, but what they found was, because Nosler and Hornady were the same size a few years ago. Now Hornady is huge.
Right.
So, and a lot of that you could attribute, I think, to Jason Hornady and Neil Davies for the marketing. The Creedmoor. Okay, well, we're done with Creedmoor. That's long enough. What's the next thing? Oh, PRC. So what happens then? 300 PRC, what fucking gun do you put it in? You got to make a special action.
Yes,
So
exactly.
now, like, you assholes need to work with gun companies, real gun companies. So then, you know, they're all different lengths. The
How do you
6.5
think that connection happens, though? You know, because that is a great point.
I think where they failed is, if I would like to believe, if I were in Jason Hornady's shoes, I would hire Ethan's and Mitch's and Nick's, guys that know about guns, really know about guns. Right. You know about guns. I know about guns. You know about guns. Right. We don't know shit. Right. All right. Guys who have made and built guns and understand.
Right.
Because when it comes to the military, this is what I was going to say with Otter Creek, whatever, you know, I was talking shit. But on the list, sound is number 10. Like with the military, reliability is paramount. Like you have to have that. And then, so you see Hornady do that, and I was like, well, the PRC card just kind of fucked up. And you start doing the math, and they're real hot. But in that realm of cartridges, and 7 PRC is cool, 300 PRC is cool, but 300 PRC, they didn't want to have a, you know, with Win Mag, you don't want to have a belted cartridge anymore, and we got 3% more performance. Who gives a shit?
Yeah.
All right, and that's cool, but, you know, you're not changing anything. If you do like analyze these cartridges with all these cartridges with pick a barrel length and then pick a impact distance. The only standout in any of those, like 7 PRC, 300 Win Mag, 300 PRC, all these cartridges are the same.
Okay.
28 Nosler is the only standout.
Interesting.
It's the only one where there is a significant difference on target.
Shit.
It's the only one. And why is it 28 Nosler popular like 7 PRC? It's a better cartridge than 7 PRC, which I think is a great cartridge.
The disconnect between the gun manufacturers and the ammo manufacturers.
Yeah,
when it
and
comes
then
down
they
to
do
it.
these weird sizes where they don't fit in fucking guns. So now we got to build special guns for your special round that's 3% better, 2% better than 300 Win Mag, and it costs twice as much. It's dumb. And then what do they do? Art cartridges. Like, okay, now we got to have a $130 Geisley mag for the gun to be somewhat reliable.
That's our argument between Jason and I.
And now we got to make bolts out of
Yeah.
C350 that are going to cost $500 for it to be durable.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it's like, it's stupid. What should be done is the boombox. Because how about the military's wanting 6 arcs so hot, and now everybody in the government and the military has got 6 arcs. Like, God damn it, these things aren't reliable. There's a government agency that's got it. We were just met with yesterday. They change every bolt every 1,000 rounds in their gun.
Wow.
So, how cool is 6 arc? It's like, how heavy is your gun? Oh, well, it's 7 pounds. Well, hey, we have this boom box in 16-inch 6 Creedmoor, which is like going from 308 to 300 Win Mag, and the gun's under 6 pounds, and the bolts don't break, and it uses a standard mag.
But it's the term 6 arc that everyone's behind right now.
Yeah, and so it's marketing, and it's bad.
Yeah.
Like it went in reverse, and that's like what it should have been. To me, if you're getting better as a company, the ARC cartridges should have been first. They should have learned from that bullshit.
Right.
Then they do these PRC cartridges. Oh, almost got it right. And then Creedmoor happened. Like, why is it in reverse? And that, So the juicy tea you want to know about is, so Neil Davies, he's the head of marketing for Hornady, and I know him. I met him a couple times, and I know his kids. His kids intern at the ranch where my house is in Africa.
Oh,
so good kids. I like them a lot. Neil and I don't really know each other. We met. We're cool. It's fine. But I was at the Dallas Safari Club show in Atlanta. And I went over to Crusader Safari's booth.
Right.
Because that's where my house
Yeah.
is. And Hornady also hunts there. They go there once a year and hunt. And they were just there. The Seth guy that runs his mouth on the podcast, he was just there. And, when he's a great shooter. So anyway, I walk in the booth, and Rad, my PH, South African, Andrew Pringle, the owner, who is one of my best friends in the world, and he's great friends with the Hornady guys, they bolt when they see me. And Ryan Ansel, one of the other PHs, was there, and he doesn't know he's South African, doesn't know any of this 338 art beef was going on. And so Neil's sitting down, he's like, "Hey, Kevin, what's going on?" And I didn't recognize him. It was just like a normal white dude. I'm like, I'm whatever. And I, but you see how I am to everyone. I'm like, "Hey, man, what's up? How you doing? Everything good?" And about the time we shook hands, I realized it was him. I'm like, "How you boys doing?" His sons, and like, to me, it's whatever. I know his kids. I like him. He's fine. We don't have to do
bad
this.
blood or anything.
Yeah, and it's like, but yeah, it's not bad blood. But if I don't care who you are, even if I like you as a company and a person, if you lie to our shared consumer, I'm going to call you out.
Right. Okay.
Because it's bullshit. Like, I value. We talked about like my mentors and me also wanting to share everything I've ever learned. Like what I would pay to get everything out of Reed Knight's brain that we're going to lose when he dies. I would give all the money I have. And so when you start putting it in reverse, by lying to consumers and confusing them, it really pisses me off. Because,
we're moving in the opposite direction.
Right.
Yeah, we did the whole job with the boombox, and that gun is so special and it's so different.
It's the vibe.
It is so good. And so if somebody lies about their gun and they didn't go through the 3.5-year journey that we did to get to where we are, like, go fuck yourself. And because like it's a hard thing to do, it's like anything you accomplish. When you work hard at it, for somebody just to try to sweep it under the rug and pretend it didn't happen. Oh, I did the same. Like if I go and climb Kilimanjaro and struggle through that bullshit, and then you didn't do it, but say you did and get the T-shirt, like, it's not a thing, man.
I did it.
I did the work.
So if all this ranting makes sense. Anyway,
Yeah,
Neil says that to me. And the second thing he says is, he's all smirking. He's like, "When are you going to build these guns in 338 ARC?" And so, like, I had an opportunity then and I said, "Well, yeah, we probably will if it's successful. You guys send us ammo, we'll build some now." And so then he makes another comment, and I went from that, which was genuine, I meant what I said, to the third thing I said was, "Go fuck yourself." And, to his face, like, "You want to confront me and then get about it? Okay, go fuck yourself." And, so he goes on this whole, I'm unprofessional for about a minute.
There it is, yeah.
And I'm like, and I say the same thing to him. I'm like, "Neil, what I can't stand about what you're saying is the fact that you guys think because you do these little podcasts or these videos and you're passive aggressive and you lie, but you say it in a way where you can say you're not lying or whatever." I said, "That's bullshit. Your cartridge is bullshit. What you're doing is bullshit." He's like, "We've never mentioned you or 8.6." I was like, "You literally have a video that is 338 ARC versus
8.6.
And I said, "You guys lie and you're full of shit." He's like, "I've never lied." And then I said, "You fucking lied directly to me." Because what happened that most people don't know about, like 8.6 has always been a government program. But I always do things that we put on the commercial market too. That's why I own it. That's why I pay for it, not the government.
Yeah.
And
that's an amazing thing to do. I mean, we appreciate that.
Yeah,
On the consumer side.
And I'm just like, well, also, but what they did was, this was our program that we created, and they were making bullets and they're making brass and they're supplying them. They're supposed to start loading ammo. And they kept delaying. And we know last year, like, it shot, and they pulled it from Sammy, right? And so what he doesn't know is the customer for this. I've worked with that organization for 25 years.
Plus, yep.
And so they respect me. And they told me a day before I had a call with Neil Davies and Mitch Middlestat, the head of engineering. It was a week before SHOT last year. We had the call. They said, we're pulling it from Sammy. And I was like, okay, well, I said, we're just not sure about 1 and 3 twist. And we're like, well, we sent you guys barrels and guns. Like, why don't you guys just test it? They're like, well, if, you guys would submit it 1 and 5, we'd be comfortable. And I said, we said, okay, well, submit it 1 and 5. It doesn't matter, like, what you submit to Sammy, build whatever you want, barrel twist. Because everybody online, like half the people that will watch this will think Sammy determines, like, that 1 and 3 twist isn't. So, no, it's not. It's just pressure.
Right.
Yeah.
And so twist makes it. And I said, go ahead. And I said, oh, what's too late? And I said, okay. Well, I hate that happened, but are you guys building a cartridge to compete with us? They said, no, absolutely not. I was like, well, it's funny because the customer told me yesterday that you are and told me what the name of it is.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
So that's what actually happened. And so so back to this conversation of Mr. Davies confronting me, and I said, he says, I said, you were on the fucking call, and I asked you, and you said no, and I told you the customer told me the day before you were, and I named the cartridge to you. And he was like, that was Mitch, that wasn't me, like,
what?
That's the kind of high school bullshit they're playing. He goes,
wow,
I don't know what the engineers are doing, I'm in marketing. And I'm
like, you're full of
"Mm,
shit, bro.
No,
Yeah.
I've high school BS is the way to put it too.
Yeah.
Exactly. We've all seen that type.
And I told him probably 3 times during the conversation, it's like, if we can't have an honest discussion, let's just stop.
Yeah.
Like, and I was unprofessional, a couple times, and I was like, man, that's your opinion, because, like, you're working for a boy who his daddy gave him a company that he got from his daddy. And so, like, I'm not that guy. I'm the guy that started and owns my company. And it's like, so if you don't want to have an honest discussion, then you can go talk to my marketing department, or you can tell the boy you work for to come over here and talk to me. It's like, shit. Yeah. Well, I mean, if that's the way you want to look at it, like, if you want to be all fucking petty, like, I respect them a lot in a lot of ways, but this was bullshit. And it was like Marty Daniels style bullshit. And then they're continuing it with, you've seen their videos and stuff. Like, and he says, we've never misled anyone. I said, really? How's that supersonic? And he laughed. He's like, well, yeah, it's not really a supersonic cartridge. We know that. I said, okay. And he's like, but subsonic, we're better. I said, how the fuck are you better? Like, we're getting extreme spread of under 5 feet a second. Yeah. So talk to me about case capacity, because you are limited with a 300 grain bullet. We can put a 450 grain bullet in ours.
Yep.
So tell me, like, you want to pretend fast twist isn't better? Okay. But tell me how that's better.
In a more proven magazine. All day long. That's right. And that was one of the things I appreciated most, was that you started at the SR25 mag instead of starting at this 7.62x39
AICS mag, anything like
Guys
like
now
that.
sells for $80 to $100, and you're losing your liver to be able to pay.
They don't know. Like, I know
left kidney.
when we do something, we start with the magazine. That's where you start with a gun design.
Yeah.
All right.
Makes sense.
Like, they're doing ammo and all the resources you would think. But anyway, so I said, bullshit. And I said, you guys have said in the video, it's a barrel swap only. You know that's a lie. In other videos, they've said, oh, it is a bolt change or whatever. But they've said that. I said, that's a lie. You guys saying fast twist, like, the ballistician corrected Seth on y'all's video the other day.
Right.
When he tried to say, once you stabilize the bullet, faster twist doesn't do anything for you downrange. Like, it's a lie. And, like, just stop lying. Like, what you guys did, and he says, well, it fits in an AR. And I'm like, a 7-pound AR, and we've got a 5.5-pound gun. He goes, well, we know that, but that's just for you guys. You guys build this gun. And I was like, I am fine with what you're doing and supporting it. But where you're lying is what you built is a toy, and it's fine. Because you guys, it's a smart decision. You're banking on people getting an AR, shooting at 100 yards in their backyard, and it being really quiet. And I said, that is cool.
Yeah.
It is cool,
Definitely.
and I can support it. But I said, where I have a problem with you is all the work that we've done and marketing that we've done, you're using that rather than working yourself.
Ultimately, don't belittle other people to bring yourself up. And it's not to say, I mean, I think that has to do a lot of it. I mean, they're saying the 8.6 Blackout, you know, it isn't a good cartridge because it's not an AR-15 platform, right? And I love small
when you
frame
boil
guns.
it down and you corner them, that's what it was. And it was like, you know, you guys are just not being honest. Like, you can call me unprofessional, but throughout this conversation, it's like, you guys are being dishonest. And that's what I have a problem with. And it's like, and so then he backed down over the whole thing because I lit him the fuck up. And at first he was like, came over there with his dick over his shoulder. He's going to do something. I was like, do you think I'm afraid of Hornady or Steve or Jason Hornady? Like, fuck no. And it's like, you coming over here to bully me?
Bitch, I'm standing right here.
Yeah. I was just like, and it became such a weird thing. What I've run into a couple of times in the industry is guys my age, even when this was 25 years ago, when they work for their daddy or their granddaddy,
They get this extra gusto.
they do not fucking like you for doing it yourself.
Yeah.
They don't.
Yeah.
They don't. They're jealous and envious.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I told him, it's like, I mean, you know, like, I don't know. I don't necessarily want to talk about people's personal lives. I think it's
Yeah.
But, you know, it's like one point I said to him, I said, listen, we're chasing innovation. You guys need to work the gun company. What you're trying to do is market and sell everything through marketing. You're not trying to innovate and improve things. And like, I'm not trying to support a Cadillac race team, which that's a little inside dig on one of them. But
Okay.
it's like, I use my money for innovation. So like, it's not just the money to me. It is like, we're really trying to improve things. And the part that really pissed me off, and I told him, is guys that need this capability, this cartridge, we developed it for, you're delaying it 2 years by doing this. Like,
Right.
guys should be getting shot in the fucking face with
With
this
that,
right now.
yep.
And because of your bullshit, it's delaying it 2 years.
That's-
And that's where it pisses me off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
What's
so-
your end goal with that caliber?
Right.
Yeah.
yeah, and it's
Yeah,
like, just be
ultimately.
honest about what it is. Like, I'm happy to support it, but everything you guys did was bullshit. It was dishonest, and you fucked us over. And in the end, like, fucking me over, whatever. But like, the consumer, and now you're confused. He says, the whole thing's like, well, there are issues with it. And I was like, what fucking issues? Well, you know, you just can't have twists that fast. And so why not? And it's like, well, you know, you can have some bullets come apart. I'm like, yeah, your SST 1970 piece of shit bullet that nobody wants, that you make the most margin on. So you want to put it in a 16-inch and then high pressure and then show the bullet. Like, don't use shitty bullets. like I drive a G-Wagon. I don't put, you know, like 84 octane in it. It's like, what is the point? Like, are you putting 84 octane in y'all's Cadillac race cars?
Right.
Like, why?
Yeah.
So why do we need to be able to support every bullet? Like, a great thing about the fast twist is bullets don't have to be as weak to perform. So another great thing about fast twist, you know, a problem with copper bullets, which are the future,
Right.
but a problem historically has been your window as far as velocity for expansion is much smaller than soft lead.
Right.
So you have to work harder to create a bullet that performs. And lead is easy and it's cheap and they high margin. They want cup and core bullets. But, you know, also and he says, you know, with the sub-X bullet and it doesn't work. And I was like, have you seen any of our videos? Like, I've literally shot 200 animals with the sub-X bullet in a 1-in-3 twist. And I've never had one come apart. Neil, like, your fucking bullet that you're using for this argument, like, you don't know what you're talking about.
In an 8-inch barrel.
It's like, and so at the end of it, so at the end of it, I said, okay, look, we're not going to agree. You're wrong. You're full of shit. But what I will do is, you or Jason Hornady come to Africa with me. I will pay for the buffalo. I'll use 8.6 Blackout. You use 338 arc. Let's get 10 meters from a buffalo and shoot them and see what the fuck happens.
Oh, well, that's
Like, come on.
great way. It's
Yeah.
like when it meets the road.
Yeah,
right?
like, come on.
Yeah,
And then
come
he's
on.
like, oh, well, that's just, we wouldn't do that. It's inappropriate caliber for that. We designed ours for shooting pigs, so we'll go shoot pigs and see. I was just like, man, get out of my face. But at the end, it was just so stupid and disappointing. And, yeah, because, at the end, it was like, so he leaves, and then, of course, Rad and Andrew come over there. What the heck happened? Because he was saying, they told me, like, or Ryan told me before I got there, he's like, oh, I'm going to light him up, and he's going to have to answer some hard questions in front of you guys and all this stuff. And And at the end, he's like, listen, we just want to, continue the relationship and get along and work together. I said, what? How would I?
What the fuck was that?
Yeah, and
Contrary.
That's how much he backpedaled, and I'm just like, what the fuck? I said, how would I ever trust you guys again? And I said, listen. And he's like, well, we just want to figure out a way to work together. So it was interesting. So, you guys are afraid of something. Oh. But it was like, I said, okay, well, I'm a reasonable man. Water under the bridge. Like, we're men. Like, you fuck up, you own it, apologize, and move forward. It's fine. And I said, stop lying and just make the fucking ammo you said you would make. Like, that's all you got to do. He's like, well, we don't want to hear you making more videos or saying these things. And I was like, I'm gonna talk to you like my kids, right? Like, if you want a different reaction from me, then stop doing the thing you're fucking doing. And I'm telling you, like, you're lying and being passive aggressive and think you're professional because you won't say my name, but you'll talk about the shit that we're doing and allude to there's a problem with it. And I'm saying, prove me wrong or shut the fuck up or get the same treatment you're getting. Like, I don't know what to tell you. I'm not going to acquiesce to your request without getting something. And so I said, that's all you got to do. Stop lying, make the ammo. We're fine. No big deal. And, anyway, that was kind of the end of that.
I mean, there's a lot of insight there.
Well, he said to me, he's like,
guys.
well, he says, well, I thought this was just like a character you played online. I was like, I don't play a character. It's who the fuck I am. Like,
Bitch, this is me 24/7.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what you see is what you get, my boy. Like, what?
it's like, you're not going to come over here and condescend me and not get it back.
Right.
Like, I don't know what you think that is. Anyway, yeah, he left, and then they run over there and asked why. I said, well, they said, well, we were hoping it would be a good conversation. You guys could put this behind you. And I was like, well, I don't know. It's like, I told him to go fuck himself. And Ryan says, actually 6 times.
Correction.
Yeah. What was the other part of that I wanted to share with you? Oh, but it was like, well, this Hornady hate. I'm like, I don't have Hornady hate. I love Hornady.
Right.
Yeah.
But it was like, if I wanted to talk shit, like online, like you're saying I'm doing it to talk shit, it's like I love ELDX ammo, and I love Creedmoor, and I hunt with it all the time. And I said, even for my recent trip, just went and bought it retail, 6mm Creedmoor ELDX ammo.
Okay.
And I said, and then when Mitch and I went to the range, in one box of ammo, the first 10 rounds, there was 130 feet a second extreme spread. That is shit ammo.
Whoa.
I can't use it. Do you see me going and posting that?
No.
No, I don't. Or when you guys were testing 22 ARC in Africa a couple months ago when I was there, and you lost, half of the 14 animals that you shot. I said, 22 ARC is a fucking joke. And, you didn't see me posting that, but you want to be now. Okay. Well, it's like, look, you're a big company. Mistakes happen, right? So, like, the loading of the ammo, that's unfortunate. But that's where I was like, you're becoming a big company in a bad way.
Yeah. I feel like, Kevin, we when we were in New Mexico, Nick's big thing was like, you guys got to come to Africa. You guys got to come to Africa.
Yeah.
We got to make that happen.
Come on. I leave March 15th and come back June 20th.
So, guys, you heard it here. I mean, we gotta make the plans and get there. So
You got to do that, and then but I'll go back. I'll be there 6 months this year, so I'll go back later in the year as well.
okay. Well, I think we need to set this up. Grab Miss Tori and say, hey, we need to come down and do classic in Africa with Q.
Yeah.
I was gonna make a joke, but I was gonna leave that one alone.
I know what you were gonna say. Like we could do our own test,
Right.
with a 338 and 8.6 and kind
do
of
it.
see like what you were talking about.
Yeah, I think that would be really cool to capture. Not only that, in your element, to meet this Whitey. I want to.
Oh, Whitey,
I want to meet Whitey. I've heard so much about him. I just want to
Whitey
check.
is so cool.
Yeah.
Whitey is, he adds to, just that whole process that I'm going through in Africa there.
Mm-hmm.
And, just being, it's me, Whitey, and Rad.
Mm-hmm.
And, man, he's funny and he loves adventure. And, it's interesting. You think about, we talked about being charitable.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, it's interesting. And it'll be interesting for you, like, being a black guy going to Africa. Like, when I talked to Jordan about it ahead of time, like, Africa's different than America in
Correct.
every way we perceive. But there is just like cultural segregation.
Correct.
And so like one of my friends, like it fucked him up a little bit going and seeing it. And he didn't really understand. So I tried to talk to Jordan a lot about it before we went, and Jordan understood exactly. But like Whitey is one of my best friends in the world, and he's a Xhosa, so he's a black guy in a southern, so a native tribe in South Africa that's in the South. And over time, I mean, he and Rad and Andrew are three of my best friends, and I spend more time with Whitey than anyone. But like it's interesting, like Whitey won't eat with me. And it's not me, it's it's him. And like it's really interesting, like they want to preserve their culture, and they have some cultural things that are important to them.
Right.
And they don't like the way us as Americans
do things.
They don't like it, and they don't want to lose it. So I've had like deep conversations about it, and it gives you this whole new perspective.
Right.
But he told me, so I'll try to make it short. But he told me that so there's an hour away, there's a town from our house. They have these two gay guys over there have this like awesome gourmet pizza place we go to.
Okay.
It's incredible. It's mine, Whitey's, Rad's favorite thing over there.
Okay.
Because normally all we eat is what we kill. But once a week or once every 2 weeks, we'll go into town have a pizza, chicken tikka. It's a spicy chicken.
Oh shit!
So good.
Okay.
A little hot chili sauce on it. But Whitey at first was like, "Oh, I'll watch the truck," and I'm like, "No, fuck that. You come in and eat with us." He's like, "No." Like, he doesn't want to eat with us, but he'll have me bring him a pizza out and everything. And he told me one day, because I do some stuff for him and his family and all, and he says his dream is to own a car, and when he owns a car, he's going to drive his kids to Eagle Hope, this place, and take his kids to eat pizza. That was like his dream. And it's like, how fucked up is that? Like when we think about America, and all, like that to him, it would be the greatest thing in the world. And so me and Andrew and Rad just got him that car. It's $6,000. We split it. And it's more special to him than like me giving you guys $1 billion.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like he is so proud. And like, you think, I mean, this is what we talk about, like life here in America and all. Like his dream is to drive his kids somewhere to eat pizza.
Right.
It's like, well, fuck, we can make that happen.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
It makes you appreciate the little things, right? That you do in your life every day that other people don't have the ability to do.
Yeah, I mean, the stuff that we stress about here and like how fortunate we are as America and how wonderful this country is and how we're just, I mean, thank God for this election, because it was like, I thought we were just giving the whole country away. And I think if Trump had lost, I think I would have lost all confidence. But the thing I took from that the most, number one, Barron Trump, being the age he is and his willingness to lean in and talk some shit to Biden, God bless that kid.
Did he really say something?
No, I think he was the only one who went over and actually shook his hand, right?
But he whispered
Everybody
something,
else.
and then Biden's face dropped. I remember seeing that. I was like, oh.
But when I saw the kids his age, like college-age kids, that Trump got that vote, it like gave me confidence that the future is actually going to be better here.
Okay.
So, because I was ready to like, oh my God, if she wins this election, I'm moving in full time next to Whitey.
Damn.
We're just going to do Africa adventure all the time.
The Q safari, like, cultivation. I feel like that'd be awesome. Like, Kevin's new venture. Well, hey, guys, I'm here.
Like the reverse of what European companies
Right.
do. And they start in Europe, then move to America
Right.
for the gun company.
We're moving to Africa.
Yeah, we're moving to Africa.
Fuck this shit. But no, man, I love you guys to come to Africa. And then just anybody that watches this, like, don't wait till you can afford it.
Right.
It's bullshit. Like, going to Africa is not expensive. Going to shoot plains game animals is not expensive. Go to Crusader safaris. And like, I get nothing out of that. Just like, Horny still doesn't send me Christmas cards for 300 blackout. I told him in that, too. I was like, Jason said all this same shit to me when I did 300 blackout, that we're just going to build it for you for the military, poke Remington in the eye. But we will never sell it because we've been selling 300 Whisper for years, and it doesn't sell. Nobody cares. And I told him, I said, you guys said the same. But, I forgot about this part of that story, too, with Horn. He said to me, we've done tests that show. And I was like, what test? What is it showing?
What?
And it was just kind of kept threatening me. I said, well, if you don't like what I'm doing and what you're saying is true and you believe it, all you have to do is post the test to shut me the up, right? Like if there's a problem with 1 in 3 twists and you guys have tested it and know this, it's like you guys want to sell your cheap bullets and you're going to say 1 in 8 twist is what you're saying to avoid liability of customers complaining that you need to pay for their silencers. That's all it's about. That's all it's about. Because it's like we both know, like Neil, you even know that a 1 in 8 twist is not going to provide you with dispersion with a 338 subsonic bullet. Like, why do you think we started chasing it with 300 blackout? Just to be different, to make barrels more difficult to make? Like,
Method to your madness.
Yeah, it's like the RPMs. Yeah. So anyway, that was a thing. But yeah, I'll encourage everybody to go to Africa. It will change your life, and do it sooner than later. You can always work an extra year. Like, working for retirement is stupid. Like, just do the adventure your whole life. You're going to be sad because you might not make it to 75 or whatever,
right?
Or be capable of going and do the cool shit that you should be doing.
Right.
Do it while you can.
Yeah.
The future's now, man.
Yeah, the future's now. Yes. But also, like, if you're young and you don't have a mortgage yet or a family, if you think you want to get in the gun industry or own a gun company or go do something, try it then, because it's way harder when you're 35 and you got responsibilities.
That's very true.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Very good
like
point.
when I'm sitting in, that's part of when I'm sitting in a meeting at work and there's 10 of us and I realize I'm the dumbest guy in there, and part of why all these smart people work for me is like they didn't have the confidence or the balls to do it, or their parents were telling them, oh, you got to do this and get this kind of jobs, you'll have this insurance coverage. Like, do the thing you feel like you should do. Like, passion. Like, it's okay. Your parents are not always going to agree with your choices, and that's okay.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, if you want to, like, I have a lot of freedom, and a lot of that is money, but it was like, I made the choice to have it. Like, I was afraid to work in a factory. Like, it terrified me, so I was wanting to do anything. But yeah, don't wait till you're older or till you think, oh, I have to save up money. No, if you want it bad enough, you can make it happen.
That's
like,
facts.
this is America, and that's why it's still the greatest country.
That's facts.
No matter how much we try to f it up.
And if you feel like you've got that gusto, and I have to say this because I always see this all the time. If you feel like you've got that instance and you feel like you've got what it takes, this man will definitely take you on for an internship.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just saying. Remember, there's just a set of prereqs, man. Be awesome, be driven, don't bullshit.
Yeah, you can't fake it. Like, Michael Jordan is not the greatest basketball player ever because he was born with that talent.
Yeah.
Or Kobe Bryant or Larry Bird.
Right.
Or, or anybody. I mean, Elon Musk, like, it's not just that he is probably the smartest person to ever live. He also outworks everyone.
Right.
Like, there is no shortcut. Like, I see it. I love the kids that work for me. And a lot of them have grown up at my company. And the company's outgrown a lot of them. And, and some of them rise to the occasion. But the one common thing is you are going to have to sacrifice personally. You are not going to work 9 to 5 and live the life you dream of. You're going to live the life your parents think you should have. That's what I believe. Yeah.
That's very good.
So find a passion so it'll never feel like working, and just get after it. But you're not gonna. There is going to be a cost. Like, it's going to cost you personally.
Right.
But I have fucked up every bit of my personal life I ever could, and I wouldn't trade lives still with anybody. Like I'm the luckiest guy in the world. Yeah, and it's because I live, because I go and do it, because I'll tell you to fuck off, and I'll go to Africa. I'll sacrifice whatever for that adventure. And I think that's what my life and career is turning into. It's just an adventure.
Yeah.
Right.
And and that's awesome. So you should do that.
So we've talked through Jason's Hot or Not.
Oh, we did.
We talked about this a little bit.
I fucked it all up.
What was it? What do you mean?
No, we were going to do Hot or Not.
No. I think it was a really good story.
Yeah.
No, I mean, there were a lot of people that was wondering about 338 ARC. I didn't know half of that. I just hadn't seen the video between 8.6 Blackout and 338.
Yeah,
but
and I wouldn't have gotten in the weeds without have just been a smart ass and pointed out where it sucked. But
it's the personal stories. That's what people want to hear.
Yeah, that kind of bullshit is just, and I can be cool with Neil. I can be cool with Hornady
Yeah.
again, and I can also not give a shit. Because to me, they're committed to being very average and chasing money right now. That's my perception.
Shit.
And so that's not a company that is going to interest me long term. Just like when I say the company outgrows some employees, like when you think you're going to be in charge, but you're going to work 40 hours a week, like the company's going to pass you by, my man.
Absolutely.
We have no room to grow mediocrity at our place.
I love that. I absolutely love that.
What you got, bro?
Yeah, so mine has been, we're on social media. We see a lot of the stuff that people post. Couple groups, mid-tier snobs, gun slap. Saw a couple posts from him on there. It was basically getting down to Otter Creek Labs and LaRue, and basically a fight between the three of you and disagreeing with it. I think it more so had to do with the Southpaw specifically.
Right. Oh, that I don't know that kid. Like I know, like somebody sent me stuff. Like speaking of arrest, which I hold no one's personal life or mistakes or whatever. Like your past is who you were. It's not who you are. So, and if you're not trying, you're going to get in trouble and you're going to have failures when you're testing boundaries. But I saw that kid. Like he was arrested as an adult for making bombs by the ATF, but he has an SOT. So unless all that's fake.
Shit.
So, like, I don't want personal contact with that kid because, to me, he's probably a Fed. But that's all rumor and speculation, but I've seen the arrest stuff, which, maybe he turned his life around and he's whatever. Whatever. But, he's here and he's told some of our people, like, he does that stuff just to sell his cans. Or just he was gonna, I think they had a tragedy and his brother was killed.
That's sad.
And that's sad and unfortunate. But one of my sales guys told me yesterday that he picked that beef with us on the Southpaw because he was releasing a hoodie the next day to raise money for his sister-in-law. And which, hell, he could have just asked me for money. I would have sent it to him. And who knows what the truth is, but that's what he told some of our guys yesterday. But he says, that he, like behind the scenes, he likes us and loves our products. But him fucking with us is the way, it's the way for him to get clout and sell product. Which,
it's the edgy approach.
Which is interesting, and the kid's clever. But I think it's kind of gross. I don't, to like ride our hard work to like cut a corner to get to somewhere you want to be. I think is kind of. But it's like the Pew Science stuff's kind of up silencers because it's got something you can't repeat, and people act like they understand this, but they don't.
No, nobody does.
And that's the end all be all. But it's like, okay, you're testing 308 or whatever on an 18-inch. Who cares? But it's like if you're not involving a durability test or accuracy, like any of these other things that matter. Because when I was a dumb kid, I thought that sound was all that mattered too. And then I had the military humble me a bunch of times, and we made a better product. But what's interesting and what I love about a Southpaw thing was everybody's like, it showed me, this is where I love this kind of conflict, because it showed me how like ignorant the customer base, the vocal customer base really is. Oh, it's old technology.
That was what we saw. I think it was Mr. Recchi. We saw them comparing it to the AAC old can, I think it was.
Yeah, the M4 2000, which is still one of the best cans, and it's
on the market.
Exactly, that's the standard, right? That's how people compare it against.
All these other cans have copied it, whether it's the Omega or that Otter Creek or anything else. They're just
but
copies.
Correct me if I'm wrong. That's the military like standard. Literally, people compare 5.56 cans against, right?
Yeah, and that's one that we won on merit, and so where people are getting ignorant is they think that, like flow through, for instance. Oh, your can can't be flow through unless it's 3D printed. So, what is the definition of flow through? So it can't be based on a manufacturing method.
Trademark
process.
It's like that's stupid. And okay, we want to talk about 3D printing. 3D, like, why do all those cans cost $1,300? Like, they're 3D printing the tube, and the tube takes 2/3 of the time. And okay, so tubing is available, consistent, inexpensive. You should not print a tube. Globally, we have perfected making tubing, and it's available, and it's inexpensive. Okay, so then, well, it has. Then you got to weld the tube to it. Okay, laser welds are 3 seconds a piece. Okay, when you 3D print the whole silencer and you print the tube, so that's why 3D printed silencers are stupid. Printing the tube is stupid, and that's why they're so expensive. But then you take it out of the 3D printer, and then you put it in a lathe, and then you have to cut the threads and face the rear mount. So in that amount of time, I can make our rear mount. So if I make our rear mount and I buy tubing, it's $12, and takes me $15 to make the rear mount. Okay, and people don't realize, and so they won't listen. But what they should know is, like, we 3D print in house. Like, you guys have seen it. We've been metal 3D printing in house for years. We're only going to use it where it makes sense. So our new silencers, the lefties that are out, are flow through 3D printed cans, but it's just the core, because the core is a third of the cost of doing the whole thing.
Right.
And it's the only thing that needs to be 3D printed. Then we machine the mount, we buy tubing, we machine the tubing, and we have 3 welds that take a total of 9 seconds. And so if you have something go wrong because you don't have a tapered muzzle, your shit comes loose, and you damage your 3D printed silencer, like, people can talk shit online and say, oh, the manufacturer is boring it out. But they're not doing that. They're 3D printing you a new silencer and putting your serial number on it. It's not allowed by the ATF. It's not allowed.
Interesting.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So that is not okay. You can't do that. And so companies are going to end up getting in trouble for that. You have a baffle strike with ours or something, we cut the tube and the core off, and we put another one on there because all your information's on the rear mount. So the whole Otter Creek, it's interesting to me because now it's like if, I don't know if you guys are into cars or something.
Yeah.
But so, there's all the carbon fiber panels for cars. Like saying 3D printing is the only, that's a modern silencer. To me, that's like saying, well, fuck, I can't afford, or I don't want to do the work of carbon fiber, so I'm just going to put a carbon fiber sticker on my hood and pretend that it's carbon fiber. That's what these guys are doing. Not like trying to discredit our design because it's a traditional baffle design. The work that went in that, in the detail, is just like the boombox. Right. And why the Southpaw is the quietest and best can is because we did the actual work. Yeah. And why would we vary far from the M4 2000 when that can was 20 years ahead of its time, and was on the gun that shot bin Laden, to chase a manufacturing technology? It's stupid. No. But the last 5 yards, like we've talked about a lot, that's always the hardest, and that's what the Southpaw and our new line of steel silencers is. Like, explain to me. Okay, well, one test we can do. So if I cared enough about Otter Creek, the test that we came up with for the Southpaw for durability of sound, and you guys probably never heard that, but what that means is, you guys have seen it, the testing that we do compared. So when I laugh, like, God bless this kid, and I hope everything's great and that he's successful with Otter Creek, but to pretend it's competition is laughable. It's like, I can play basketball. Let me go into the NBA right now and see how terrible I am. It's just different levels, right? Yeah. Right. But the durability of sound. So when the can's new, that's quiet. Okay, let's put it through a real durability test. This will be important for, like, the guys that just post on IG, right? But let's do a durability test and then test the sound. Like, why do we make the blast baffle Inconel? Why has that can got no outer tube and is 1 3/4 in diameter and has double the internal volume of the M4 2000 or that Otter Creek can? Why is that? Okay, well, let's keep the can cooler, because it gets hot, it'll start to erode, and then your sound's going to go way up. So durability of sound. So the durability test for the Southpaw was 1 magazine of 1 round a second, 1 magazine 2 rounds a second, 1 magazine full auto, 1 magazine 1 round a second. So those 4 mags. Okay. 4,800 rounds. Jesus. On a 9-inch barrel.
Wow.
Let's see how quiet that Otter Creek can is after 1,000 rounds, after 500 rounds, after 4,800 rounds. So the reason that can's half the price is because it's a third of the can. And if we want to get real, that's the truth. And people don't want, but you had a weld imperfection. It's like, we're welding stainless and Inconel together, and we also don't spray paint the can to cover stuff up. So
Yeah, you can see the baffles, like as it gets from different materials. You can clearly see the delineation.
Yeah, and it's me, so any little thing ever. But there's gonna be it's like Geisley saying, "Hey, anodizing is imperfect, and there's gonna be imperfections."
Yeah.
And Bill Geisley is telling the truth. And if you're too stupid to understand it or appreciate it, it's just like hub mount.
Yeah.
And Ethan Lassard, the hub mount is for people too stupid to pick the best mount. Like you want to say, "Oh, I'm going to put it on all these." No, you're not. No, you're not. And why is everybody, because it's me, when we started Q and we did silencers, mocked our mount. We haven't changed our mounting system. Everybody else copies it, though. Like, tell me I'm dumb. Tell me we're not good at what we do. You don't like the southpaw? Like, okay, Hot Rod, go shoot it. go shoot it and tell me that's old technology. The amount of time, it's like when I did, our old stuff at AAC.
Yes.
The Element 2 silencer, the Element silencer, there is nothing quieter than that today. And that is not because I'm Elon Musk. It's because the work that went into that.
Yes.
We spent a year doing the Tyrant 9.
Yes.
Show me a 9mm silencer that's
quieter.
Oh, it's just K baffles. Okay. Our new Still 30 caliber cans that are in the family with the Southpaw. The Trash Panda size one, the little one, is quieter than the Thunder Chicken.
Yeah, I've got to get one.
The Thunder Chicken size one is quieter than the Full Nelson, which is the quietest
Quietest
30
can.
pound there is.
Yeah.
So, okay. We have it in the booth now in the corner. Two of them sectioned. One of the titanium, Trash Panda, and then the Speakies. They look the same. But well, how is this one 6 dB quieter than this one? Explain that to me if they're the same. If that's old technology. The new 30 caliber can, the Blind Tiger, I think is the
Blind.
or
Yeah.
the Speakeasies.
Blind Tiger. Yeah.
The full size one that's close to the size of the Thunder Chicken, not even quite. It is the quietest 30 caliber silencer ever built, and it ain't 3D printed, homie. So, like, explain that to me.
What's the sound?
Why am I winning so much? Why are we winning so much?
Because we do the whole ass job. Because we do the hard work.
Why am I so much better than you?
It shows.
It goes back. So we sacrifice, we do the whole job, the whole test, and then they all copy in their own little way after we do it.
What's the sound like? I haven't shot the lefty. We shot the Southpaw when we were in New Mexico. The lefty came out of left field for me because of our last talk with flow through and the negatives there. And I'm sure you guys wanted variety in your product line, right? You have the Southpaw, now the lefty.
Well, to honor
it's surprising.
Otter Creek's marketing method.
Yeah.
Like, if I didn't talk shit about flow through, then it wouldn't get as much attention when we release them. But I do think flow through is stupid. But there is a certain application in the military where it can make sense.
Right.
But if you guys look at we've got some photos on in the booth down
Yes, through the little pamphlet, and Mitch showed that to me, and it shows the flash signature, all the gases that's going on, and there are some wild offenders in there that are industry favorites right now.
Yeah, I mean, that Huckworks can and that Surefire flow-through can, both of those, it's like, that Huckworks can, I've always said, it's like trash. I mean, that thing, that fireball, how's that fireball out of that can? And what's somebody going to say, we're photoshopping it? Like,
You know what?
man.
I feel like we need to do a thing. Us, Q, and maybe High Speed Ballistics, and just show some stuff
flash.
at night. And I think that'd be really dope to capture for the naysayers out there. Because if you're not here at SHOT Show, you should go flip through that folder. It's very interesting.
What application, you said, I think there is an application in the military for flow-through cans, and that's why you came up with the lefty. What application do you believe that is?
Where overall signature is important, not just sound. And so maybe pay attention to this. Like, we build systems now for a reason. But some of the military and government groups we work with don't have our guns. And they have guns that were not developed to be suppressed. And so there's where there is a reasonable application for it.
Okay.
So if their gun doesn't work with a silencer, and you need that, and they're more concerned with flash than sound. Or if you've got a government agency that is bought into this and is very concerned about toxic gas rather than getting shot in the face. So,
Man up, or at least lay you down a bit.
I mean, I think that's it. But I will say, as much as I hate flow-through cans and think they're stupid, it's just like build it as part of the gun. And a lot of people, yeah, I know they hate that, but it's like guys that don't understand why float, and they just like buy into this whole toxic gas. Huxworks was very smart in renaming the company, and then it's called Hux Safety Company or whatever, and going after these government grants for this stuff. Like, it was a smart business move, but it fucks the silencer industry up to some degree. So that kind of part I have a problem with. But
it's interesting because most companies, right, when they come out with a suppressor, they have to back that suppressor up. Like, they're like, without any doubt, this is probably the new best suppressor we've ever come out with because it's our newest product line. We have to hype it up as much as we can. And you have the new Lefty, and you're not saying that, right?
No, I mean, I think I was always honest. Like, the Southpaw is the can I choose and I would want. But the Lefty is the best flow-through silencer there is. It's just still a flow-through silencer.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like the captured flow-through, like, the silencer was actually on the gun that shot bin Laden. Was a 416 SD. And it's an M4 2000, just renamed. I mean, that's what these, the Reddit boys will say. But
exactly.
The
not the Reddit gangsters.
No.
But the truth with that, this is where I like try to like pass along knowledge, and then you just hear a bunch of dumb shit from people, and that's legitimately why no other owners or people ever get online, because it's just a cesspool. But I still hope, like, I'm not going to give up. Like, being an entrepreneur, I'm always going to be optimistic. And plus, I don't care, like, what haters say. Like, it just, so when I have time, if it gets through to some people, it's good. But what happened was the military, certain groups in the government got HK 416s in around 2005, 2006. Well, the group they built it for didn't specify it shoot with a silencer.
Right.
Because it wasn't common use really even then. Right. But so they had Knight's Armament silencer, the what do you call it? It was the M4 QD. I don't know what the kids
the
call
corn
it
cob.
now.
Yeah.
So
They added the shield afterwards. Yeah.
so it's a great NT4 or something.
Something like that. Yeah.
But it's a great silencer, and people would dog it a few years ago, but it's like, they're dumb. It's like a great silencer for their requirement that it's the only silencer that met that requirement when they built that thing. So it's a great silencer. But it was a good silencer. They continued to use it, so they put it on the 416. It wasn't designed for that gun. It was designed for an M4. 416 is a different gun.
Yeah.
And so it's so slick. 416 is so good, it would, my man.
I can't believe that. I thought it was off. Oh, Lordy. Oops, sorry.
But it would overrun the rounds in the mag, and it wasn't reliable. And that's how good of a job HK does building guns and their consistency. And so they need a lower back pressure can. And so we have the M4 2000. It was 4 M4s. The 416 SD, the only difference is we ported the baffles to create a flow-through can, but we didn't port the front end cap. So it captured flow-through.
I see. Yeah.
And so that allowed the gun to run reliably. So it reduced the cycle rate and the back pressure where the gun was reliable. And that's why that was on that gun. But it did give up a little flash.
Okay.
But
Give and take with everything.
yeah,
Right?
and I mean, and these are all like the realities. I'm happy to share this stuff with people. And then when we get to a flow-through can, I mean, I've said it a million times. People don't want to hear it, but it's, you can take any silencer and put a 1/2-inch bore through it. So Otter Creek, or I don't know a lot of the little companies, but it's like the Surefire can. Just put a 1/2-inch bore through it, and you have the same. The only way you can really measure the gas consistently, or the gas, is like what you do is measure bolt velocity increase. And so if you put a 1/2-inch hole through the silencer, you get the same sound as the Hux works. You get the same back pressure. You get the same volume of gas. So like all this flow through stuff, like people want to imagine that, all this really crazy baffle design is magic and it makes it quiet. It's like it's not.
Right.
It's like you do the same shit, put a 1/2-inch hole through just a bore through. It's going to be loud and it's going to flash, and it won't be as loud on a gas gun to the shooter.
Do you agree with suppressors that you can change the end cap out for whatever area you're looking to use that gun?
I think it's dumb.
Yeah.
It's because, like how many
Next hotter
companies?
out, there it is.
It's how many companies EDM the bore of the silencer? Because when you put parts together, baffles or whatever, and you weld it, it's never going to be perfectly straight. The bore isn't. How many companies go the extra mile to EDM that bore to where it's as straight and consistent as possible in relation to the bore of your rifle? And that's also why we tapers for alignment. Every little bit of accuracy and point of impact shift. We want to squeeze every bit that we can out of it. So just doing that. But when you do that, it's like the hub mount. You want the strong silencer,
Right.
explorer
Yes.
rated. You put
Also
threads in the
lightweight.
back of it, and that also causes misalignment and stuff comes loose. It's dumb. When you do it on the front end cap, well, now you have thread concentricity issues and everything. And,
You're trying to thread the needle at both ends. Like, you can't.
yeah, so doing that, it's not going to be aligned with your baffles perfectly. It can come loose, and that could cause a failure at the always happen at the worst time. So I don't agree with doing that.
Okay.
And me saying that, like hub is dumb, but we did the plan B, and we'll probably do a hub silencer. And I'll be honest about it. It's like, I will use the lefty for like the smallest, lightest thing if I want to not hurt my ears as much. Or if it's on a gun that's not ours, it isn't made to be run with a silencer. But I don't shoot those guns a lot. So the Southpaw to me, and go shoot that thing. That's the quietest 5.56 cannon.
Oh,
It's
we
so
ran it.
good.
We ran it.
For the size, definitely. I
the
mean,
size.
it was, but 6 inches? Right around there?
Yeah, six.
Sweet spot.
I love that K-can thing online. Well, yours isn't a K-can. It's like you intentionally didn't post. I didn't even know Otter Creek made 2 different silencers. Like, we just used whatever we had to do our test in the shop. Like, and it was a mistake. We probably should have only shot the Southpaw with Surefire, Huxworks, and Knights. Like, those are our only competitors. So, like Dead Air is not a competitor to us or Otter Creek.
I love those like old school Mark 12 suppressors. It was the AM5. Those more so kind of like knowing where we came from to see where we are. Yeah.
Yeah, that was what were those? Those Phil Seeberger OpSync signs.
Yeah, OpSync. Yeah.
Yeah. So those are cool.
Yeah.
But everyone I've ever seen. So like I X-ray a lot of cans, and the reason you EDM is for this. Every OpSync can that you'll ever X-ray, there's burrs, like curly Q burrs.
I remember you told me
in
that.
them because they run a drill through it
Yeah.
to try to get the hole the right size and everything. And that's why you EDM is so you don't end up with those burrs.
Right.
And when you run a drill through it, it's going to flex anyway. Doesn't work. Anyway,
Brother.
I'm going to have to run.
I know, man.
Yes.
And Kevin, again, amazing. And I feel like might have to pick up part 3. Maybe not at SHOT, maybe Africa.
That'd be awesome.
I think that'd be awesome.
Well, thank you guys so much, and thanks for all
Thank
you
you.
do. And I'm
Absolutely.
so happy that we've met you guys and all that you do for
Brother.
us.
Thank you,
And,
Kevin.
having me on here, and I love it. And I hope you guys have a good understanding of what we do. It sounds like you do now, and can appreciate it. And magic ain't cheap, huh?
Damn right, baby.
Yeah.
There it is. I love that tagline.
Yeah. So thank you, and I look forward to hanging out with you guys.
Absolutely. And guys, of course, stay tuned for our SHOT Show coverage and CF contest stuff, man. It's been deep over here. It's been real. It's been awesome. And Kevin, again, thank you so much.
Until
Thank
next
you,
time.
guys.
Until next time, part 3, because this is part 2. There you go. See you guys later.
See ya.